Hi, 7th grade students, and welcome to my home recording studio. Until the spring, I didn't have such a thing, but now, out of necessity, I am recording videos, and I have all kinds of neat stuff. Special lighting and all that, and you can actually see the lighting kind of in the whiteboard a little bit, and I apologize for that. I'm going to keep working on all of that. Now, normally when we start class, we will do some sort of breakout exercise, welcome exercise, something to just kind of get us going. And with having one of those classes be video, like we're doing today, I'm still going to try to do that. However, I'm going to push that to the end of class, and we're going to do some diagramming practice at the end. So it was great seeing you guys on Wednesday and actually being with you in person, and I look forward to doing that and hope to have the Monday videos be very much like that, so that you have that sense of having 2 days of class. Then I want to explain it again because I think some of you didn't quite understand that the Thursday will be for us to have a check-in time. Now, probably most weeks that will be completely up to you. I will link in and I will be sitting there. So if you have homework or questions, want to get something clarified, you can certainly join me at that time. There may be times when that is mandated and I say, hey, you have to be there. It's going to be a review for a test. And likely the video would have been shorter earlier in the week. So I don't want to add a lot of time to your schedule. So just to clarify that. So Wednesday in class, I want to go over what you will be bringing me as far as homework. So you might want to stop right now, get out a sheet of paper or your planner, and you should always have something to write on because I'm always going to say things. And so I'm going to write them on the board. But the things that you want to bring in as far as homework. So on Monday, you want to bring in, the first thing you want to bring in is the homework for lesson 2. You should have done that on Thursday. The second thing that you want to bring in is your paragraph about me. Mrs. Jernigan. The third thing you want to bring in is the homework that you're going to do after the lesson today. Now, let me tell you how that can work. You can either listen to the lesson, go ahead and do the homework, or you can listen to the lesson today and do the homework tomorrow. It is highlighted for tomorrow. Now, you're certainly welcome to just jump right in and do it. But on Wednesday, you will bring the homework for lesson 2. Lesson 3. And then the final thing, and that's going to be in the writing video lesson that I will do. There'll also be a video up for the writing because I want to talk a little bit about that. But the fourth thing that you will bring in is your paragraph about you. And you will be doing a keyword outline today, probably just a quick one. And then you will be writing your paragraph, and you want to bring that as well. So Wednesday, you will actually have 4 assignments. That could be the case every Wednesday. So what I would really like for you to do is to make sure you have a couple of pocket folders. And when I say pocket folders, I don't see any laying on my desk. Let me grab one real quick. This is a pocket folder. And so it's just got the 2 pockets. And what I'd like for you to do is to label one side writing, just like this, and the other side grammar. So you will have, your pocket folders will look like this. And on the grammar side, you're going to put your grammar homework. And on your writing side, you're going to put your writing homework. So that you only have to hand me one thing when you come to class on Wednesday. Normally I don't do it like that. So if you've ever had me before, you know I normally like you to hand in by assignments. But not this year. What I'd like you to do is hand it all in one folder, writing on one side, grammar on the other. And then that way I get everything in one nice folder. Then I will bring it home and sort it out. So that way we keep everything in the folders together. I would recommend that you probably have 2 or 3 of those. I will do my best to get them back to you very quickly. Maybe even that same day I'll have the folder stuck in your family mail, but I can't promise that. So let's get started with today's lesson. Hopefully you've printed out your HAS. It says September 14th to 18th. It should look very much like this. Please note that my name, my email address that I want you to use, and my phone number are all on there. I am much quicker to answer if you contact me by email. A lot of times I'll ignore the phone calls just because they kind of break up something I'm doing. You'll see under Monday, it says grammar. Today you will watch the pre-recorded video on lesson 3. We will do some class practice on this and practice diagramming. So we're going to do those things. Then the writing will be under a separate video, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. Now, the homework for Tuesday is pages 22 and 23. It says complete section A and B. Now, here's important information, and unless you want to do a lot of extra work, you might want to read this. It says in A, you do not have to rewrite the sentence, just the words that have the dividing mark between them. You'll figure that out when you get there. And in B, you only have to do the odds. So sometimes I look at the homework and I'm only going to make you do a portion of that. And then on Wednesday, we will be back in class together, and I hopefully will be recording all of those sessions as well. So I want you to turn to page 19 in your green textbook. You should have that in front of you for your school day. And it says subjects and predicates. And we've talked a little bit about the sentence already. Let me erase our whiteboard here. And we've talked about sentence structure. In the whole first chapter of the green book, I'm going to introduce you to lots of different things. So you're going to hear about the subjects and the predicates. You're going to hear about nouns. You're going to hear about direct objects, all kinds of things. And then when we go through the rest of the book, we will actually be stopping on those things and learning them a little bit better. So for the subject and predicate, remember, I always like to look at that gray box. These are things that I would write down in notes. So hopefully you are taking notes. Now let me just tell you that on Wednesday, I am going to say, okay, at some point in the class, I'm going to say, okay, open your notebooks and show me your notes from the video lesson on Monday. Everybody who has at least a half a page of notes will get a 10 out of 10 for a quiz grade. So it might be a good idea. You might need that extra quiz grade, perfect quiz grade for later down the road. So taking at least a half a page of notes, and when I say in the class, open up your notebook and show me your quiz notes, then you'll open it up and everybody who has them will get that 10 out of 10. So some things you might want to write down are subject. What is a subject? It tells who or what a sentence is about. And if you have had Shirley grammar, you've learned to answer the question. Like if it's the boy ran across the field, you want to say who ran across the field. And so that's how you know that boy is the subject. Now, I always tell a story with my 7th grade grammar and writing stories. We talk about nouns. And I usually send out and say, or in the class, I usually say something like, tell me all the many, many, many jobs that your mom does at home. Because our moms are like nouns. So usually I hear things like she's a cook, she's my chauffeur, she helps me clean up, because I know she doesn't do all the cleaning for you. She probably does your laundry when you're young. She is the one who puts Band-Aids on, so she's kind of a nurse. She probably has some sort of job that she did before you ever came along. So maybe she's an engineer, maybe she's a nurse, maybe she's a teacher. We could go on, probably naming 10 or 12 things. And your mom does all those jobs. She's just one person, though. She didn't clone herself. She didn't create other people that you call mom. There's just one of her. And I like to tell everybody that nouns are just like that. Nouns can be many, many, many different things. They're going to show up many, many different times in a sentence, but they're going to have different jobs, just like your mom has different jobs. And so right now, the noun is the subject. So we're talking about the subject. It's a noun. It could be a concrete. We're going to talk about that in writing. But it could be a concrete, like hard thing that you could touch. Or it could be something like a thought or an idea. So the first thing is the subject. Now, a simple subject is just the main part of possibly a complete subject. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Now, the predicate is the fancy schmancy word for the whole verb action. And the predicate tells what the subject does or is. A simple predicate is the main part of the complete predicate. And then finally, the sentence skeleton, and I think we talked about this the other day. I know I did with my 8th graders, so I sometimes get confused. But the simple skeleton is just the simple piece of the diagramming where the subject is on one side and the verb is on the other side. So we're going to talk about that all in just a second. Now, I always use the text to teach out of. Mine are individual pages, so I have my individual pages out. But a lot of the information that I pull out comes straight from here. I do add some of my own examples. So I do want to look at the subject and the predicate. This should be pretty easy for most of you. Again, we're looking for a noun, and we're looking for the noun that is doing the action. So let's go about halfway down on your page, on page 19. And we're going to read the sentence, Leon grew corn, beans, and tomatoes to sell. Now, what we want to do first is identify the verb, and that's exactly what they do, and that's what you do in Shirley. You want to figure out what's the action, and if we are quick, we figure out that it's grew. Something's growing. But then we want to say who or what grew. Now, we could possibly say corn or beans, but what we want to recognize is that somebody is doing it. Somebody is growing all of those things. That's going to be the subject, and that is Leon. Leon grew the corns, beans, and tomatoes. And those corns, beans, and tomatoes are nouns, and they're doing something else in the sentence. Another one here, the 3 little kittens were playing in the yard. That whole big, the 3... Is it 3? Oh, just the 3. The 3 kittens is the whole complete subject because it's telling us all about the kittens. The one main word that I want is kittens. Who is playing in the yard? And the kittens are. So hopefully finding the subject is kind of old hat for you now that you're in 7th grade. You're probably pretty accustomed to that. We will be looking for a couple more, so turn to page 20. And the sentence is a blue jay is a beautiful but aggressive bird. I didn't know that about blue jays. But the whole piece of it, blue jay, is the complete subject. I need all parts of that. Now, because the blue jay is the name of the bird, we probably wouldn't separate that at all. Then finally, here's a tricky one. This is a beautiful but aggressive bird. Now, if I said to you, go find the subject in that sentence, you might look at that for a minute and not be really sure what the subject was. You might even hop all the way to the end of the sentence and say, oh, bird. Bird is the subject. Well, in that case, you'd be wrong. And I don't ever like to tell people they're wrong, but in this case, you would be. There are words, and we're going to learn those all throughout the year. This is a pronoun, the word this. is substituting in for a noun. And so it is actually the subject. What is a beautiful but aggressive bird? This. So be sure to look for words like that that don't really look like nouns, but they really are. Now, I do want to talk about this whole complete subject, complete predicate, because I want you to understand that the noun can drag a lot of other words along with it, and the verb can drag a lot of other words along with it. And that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about complete subject and complete predicate. And so if you look to the middle of the page where it says the Lord of glory will bless his people, who will bless his people? Well, the Lord of glory, the whole piece. But if we just need the one word, it would be Lord. So we've got some modifiers, some things that are helping us understand the information. And so we have a bigger complete subject, but we are still looking for that one word. Here's another one. This piece of chicken is well done. If I just said this piece is well done, you might not know what I'm talking about. It could be a piece of pottery that got well done in the kiln. It could be a piece of steak. So we need more information. The piece of chicken, that's the whole complete subject. But then I need the one word, and that would be piece. Okay. Now the predicate is kind of the same way. And if you look at the very bottom, we see kind of the same thing happen. It doesn't happen quite as much, and there aren't usually a ton of words that accompany the verb. But here we have one at the bottom. Janet drew this picture. Now, we need drew this picture to understand the whole thing, because if we just say Janet drew, we don't know what she drew. Did she draw water out of the well? Did she draw a deep breath? Or did she draw a picture? So we need the whole thing. Jesus drew this picture. So drew this picture is a complete predicate. It's giving us more information. The same thing happens. The girls in the yard are my cousins. And we really need all of that information even just to make the complete sentence. If you're not sure if words that come after the verb need to be part of the complete predicate, I would err on the side of caution and say yes. Go ahead and attach them. It's better to do that and to have the more information than to miss some important parts. All right. Now I want to take a look at diagramming. Diagramming is one of my favorite things because it takes words and it puts them into pictures. And I'm a very visual person. I love to be able to see a map. I don't know if any of you like to read maps, but I love to read maps. And it's such an old-fashioned skill. It's not something we need to do because we have GPS now. And but looking at a map and looking at surrounding cities and where they are and the geography around there, I just find very fascinating. And this diagramming is like a map. So what I want you to do, we're going to talk about the skeleton, and then I'm going to give you a few sentences that I want you to divide into the skeleton. So the skeleton is kind of like a skeleton. If you're looking at a skeleton in science class, it's kind of the same thing. It's just the very bare bones. You start with a straight across line and a line coming down the middle. I think I've done this with you, but I'm going to review the subject and the verb. And that will always, 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 always be the order here. So don't ever try to put the verb over here. Well, there might be occasion for that, but most of the time, no. And any words that help these words are going to drop down underneath. So just remember the main thing we're looking for is the skeleton. So if I had the word or the sentence, the cat sleeps, then you, I'm sure, are going, okay, cat goes up here and sleeps goes right here. And you would be right. Now, you don't have to keep these in here. You don't have to put subject verb. All you're going to do is that right there. You're going to tell me cat sleeps. So you're looking for who is doing the action, the cat, and what they are doing. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of sentences, and then you're going to pause the video. So I want you to get into the habit of knowing how to pause your video. Looks like we went a little bit crooked here. Hopefully this fixes it. Sorry about that. Okay, so the sentence. Let's start with the first one. The dog barked angrily. The second one, the mouse ate cheese. And finally, the tree fell loudly. So I want you to pause your video for just a second, and I want you to put those into the skeleton for me. So now you're back, and we want to figure out what the answers to this are. So if you could scream through the computer, I'm sure you would scream that in this first sentence. And I want to hear you, so I want you to scream really loud coming through the computer. The dog barked angrily. Who is barking? And I think I'm hearing dog. So dog is going to go there, and barked is going to go into the verb part of the skeleton. All right, the next one, the mouse ate cheese. And again, who ate? The mouse. And that is your subject, mouse ate. And then finally, the tree fell loudly, and I should hear you screaming at the top of your lungs that the tree fell. So tree and fell. Now, this is the very basic of what you need to do to diagram. So all of our diagramming for the rest of the year is going to be built on this. If you don't understand this, then you're going to be a little lost on some of the rest. So make sure that you understand the skeletons. Now, on Thursday, that might be something that when I post the check-in time, my office hours on Thursday, we're not going to have a mandatory class meeting. We're not going to be reviewing. It will literally just be a check-in time, and I'm available for a whole hour. And so I will turn my computer on and I'll click on Zoom. And if you want to come in and join me and ask me any questions or even get any of this homework checked, I would be happy to do that just to help you make sure that you understand. Now, if you look at, I want to look at the top of page 22. Make sure I'm still in the same lesson. Yes. Wait a minute, maybe I'm 20, 21. Yes. So I want you to look at the top of page 22. And there we have compound, subjects and verbs. And so I just want you to know how you draw your diagram when you have a compound. And so let's just say that the sentence was, the cat and dog sleep. So the cat and dog sleep. And in that case, what you're going to do is you're going to draw what I call a pencil point. To me, this looks like a giant pencil. And you actually don't need such a big... Whoops, we just had a technical difficulty. So we're going to try to get back here again. It looks like you are still running. So sit tight for 1 second. Sorry about that. I didn't fall, the computer fell. Not holding up as well on this nice little stand. So what we're going to do, I'm going to try to hold on to it here or put a book or something on it. Sorry about that. First day in the recording studio, and inevitably we've got little issues. Okay, so the dog and the cat sleep. I'm going to let go of this for a second and hope it doesn't tip over. All right. I'm not having much success here. All right. I'm going to try to write these in real quick here. The cat and the dog. So this is where you put your and. We need that, and we need the cat and the dog. And then over here, we would put sleep. Or sleep and eat. We might have to put that as well if we were sleeping and eating. Okay, so I think because of our technical difficulties, I will stop there. Hopefully you got the information that you needed to do the homework, and I will be posting a video for your writing as well. And again, remember, I'll see you on Wednesday with that folder and all your homework. So have a wonderful afternoon, and let me know if you have any problems. We will talk to you on Wednesday.